Hello, the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Dunigan, and it looks like the camera's working this time.
Yeah. On our Sonic one, we thought the camera was working, and then we turned the screen off for monitoring, and it turned the recording off, and we didn't notice it till it was too late.
Were they missing out on much, though? Were they really?
Yes, they were.
I guess you got the Street Fighter figures.
Yeah, so we had the Sonic stuff here, the CRT TV, and I don't know about the CRT TV so important.
Gengar.
But yeah, we had
Kiss,
this stuff.
Randy Savage.
Yeah, there was things to look at, and well, that's okay. We went old school, and there's nothing wrong with that.
True. Yeah. In town for the holidays. Didn't really come in with any real set plan. Just figured we'd wing it. But at the exact same time, I don't know. I feel like every year it'd be nice to have even though every year you say, I don't give a shit about Christmas. I'm like, it'd be nice to do a Christmas podcast. Like, okay, it's an episode.
You're like the father trying to bring the family back together again that's like split out across the country. And be like, let's just do it like old times. I'll buy the train set. I'll get the dinner going. It's all going to work out. It'll be just like it again. We'll get goofy sweatshirts.
I'm like Chevy Chase in Vacation, where I'm just so upbeat and happy the whole time and want everyone to get on board. And then I just finally snap, like, you'll be singing Jingle Bells out of your fucking asshole.
You get to that point and so on.
Or reaches the point where, there's always that point in, every, Christmas movie. It's usually in the beginning where, things go bad and the kid is like, I hate Christmas! Christmas is ruined! And then, suddenly, they're home alone or Krampus comes. One or the other,
Yeah, exactly. One of those ones like that. But yeah, you were telling me earlier that they put out these fancy Todd McFarlane Red One figures and so on. And I went and saw Red One in theaters when it came out, you know what I mean? And it was fun enough. It's nothing to write home about or anything, but it was decent. My favorite part was really, what's his face playing Santa Claus?
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons playing Santa Claus.
Spider-Man.
That was the best part. Yeah, more pictures of Spider-Man.
That's what you get for Christmas.
Yeah, and then my other part that I liked a lot is there's one scene in there that's really the take-home scene where J.K. Simmons is working out, and he gets to show off that build that we always know he has, but you never see it in any other movies. And The Rock spotting him and everything like that. And it's like, that's badass. And more of this, less of everything else. And the downfall is that J.K. Simmons gets captured, fucking Princess Zelda, and then you don't see him until the very end of the movie again.
That's what everyone says. J.K. Simmons is the real takeaway from this. And if it was a J.K. Simmons and The Rock movie, they'd be on board. And you think The Rock and Captain America, I think that'd sell it. But at the same time, I don't know. I saw the trailer, and it's I don't know. I mean, sure, you could do a fun action superhero style Christmas movie, but it just didn't really jump out to me. That's what I'm going to wait for the reviews. And then everyone was just my dad liked it, but everyone else was either fuck this or you know what I mean? That was kind of how everyone sort of was about it. And don't get me wrong, The Rock, I'm not one of those people. It takes a lot for me to write off an actor. If there's an actor in it doesn't mean I'm not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But Rock is becoming one of those actors where I feel like he's in too much shit and he's always playing the same thing. And it's not there's before a little bit more variety. Okay, he's always an action guy. Yes, Clint Eastwood's always stern. He's always, unless he's dressed like a clown or whatever.
The sun's always, in his direction.
Yeah. He's always squinting. He's always there's the couple of movies where he's character acting. But I know he's always playing the same part, but I kind of like that character. And if you like that character, you like the thing, that's fine. The thing is, lately I feel like The Rock has been in nothing but big, glossy, safe PG-13 movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just kind of runs together, and it seems kind of more of a brand than... he doesn't have to do everything faster or whatever.
Yeah, but Faster's that's the good example. That's the pinnacle Rock.
That's probably
movie.
My favorite Rock movie.
Yeah,
but yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that one is, and I do kind of agree. It'd be nice to see him kind of take more risks. I think maybe he needs to go up and slap an actor on stage, and then next thing you know, you're kind of getting back to taking riskier roles. One of those ones there, but
he also going back to that though, go the action.
Sorry, if The Rock went up and slapped an actor on stage, that might be the end of that actor's life.
That's like a smash finish, just like you get the shoo.
Yeah, he'll be fucking like a Captain Falcon punch.
Yeah, like the freeze, like boom, like the sparks and shit fly off the side of the screen, like Rock wins. They're suddenly fucking like Vin Diesel is just clapping in the background, looking like disappointed,
looking sad.
But The Rock, the Red One action figures, I guess that was the thing. Like, it was just something I was bringing up to you. It was just like, because I follow McFarlane Toys. Not that I really ever have the money to buy a $35 Batman figure anymore. Rarely. Yeah. But I'll follow them, just see what they got coming out. And I just saw we're putting out Red One figures. I'm like, maybe I'm being gaslit, but I feel like, because I'm like, who is really excited? Who's like, dude, The Rock from Red One, $30 sold. Oh my god, dude. It's a deluxe set. It's Ryan Reynolds wrestling a snowman.
Not Ryan Reynolds, but Chris Evans.
Chris Evans wrestling a snowman. Holy shit, dude! How much? $80? Fucking sold. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like you can come out with like Christmas movie toys down the line where there's like some nostalgia for them. Like, I'm surprised when you don't see more stuff for Jingle All the Way or something by this point.
I know, exactly. I got my Turbo Man figure over there. I got one over there in the box, and then I got one over here. It's probably not in the camera.
You got a Funko Pop one of somewhere, don't you?
No, I don't have a Funko Pop. Well, I guess it technically is Funko Pop, like the brand, but it's not a Funko Pop looking one. It's like that's who did the re-release one, and then I got the original one sitting back there. Oh, okay. But yeah, no, it's weird that does it. As I said, I would take, if there was a J.K. Simmons working out one by Todd McFarlane, I would get that. If you just had Buff Santa, pretty much, I'm 100% down there. Because as I said, that's the takeaway of that movie. And I'll say this: I think that movie's it's like middle of the road good. Like, it's nothing amazing. I don't think it's bad, but it's just kind of like, if you watched it, you wouldn't be like, oh, I wasted my fucking time. But you wouldn't need to go out of your way. Let's say that.
I guess it was something to the effect of it was free, and I passed it up because I'm like, you know what? We're coming up to the maybe we could do our movie countdown by then, because I don't know what else we have a chance to see. But I was trying to stack up and watch all the movies that came out this year that I missed, since it's easier to see things here than it is in the Netherlands. So I was like, I could spend 2 hours of that with Red One. Or I can watch this movie over here I have not seen yet for my list, because I know Red One's not going to.
No, I'll tell you, it wouldn't be on there. That's guaranteed. As I said, it's got moments in it, and I think that's it. Chris Evans, I don't know. He needs to get back on that super soldier serum. Like,
he's
I don't know.
To.
Yeah, good, because it's like one of those ones. Like in that movie, it's like so somebody needs to feed Chris. I don't know what's going on here, but he's lost a little too much weight.
He's going to be in the new. He's going to be in one of the new Avengers, maybe both of them, but he's going to be in one of them. And I don't know if he's coming back as OG Captain America, or if he's going to be like
old man Captain,
or if he's going to be like, or if he's coming back as like a variant. But yeah,
yeah, interesting.
Who knows?
No,
but yeah, a lot of I was just trying to like. I'm one of those things where I was, the jet lag with my kid kind of keeps him up a little bit, and sometimes like. By now he's fine, but for a minute I was just like, you know what? This is first Christmas. Let's put on some Christmas stuff. He's not going to remember it, but fuck it, it's for me. Whatever. Mm-hmm. And you put on like something like Rudolph, just because okay, he's going to stare at that. I could put him down for a minute. He's going to be like, for a minute, you know. And he liked it enough from what I can tell. But then I'm like, I know we say it like every year, like, and I know it's a dead horse by now or a dead reindeer, but like the amount of bigotry in that movie, because it's not even like. Oh, we were wrong. It's like, you have a use, therefore you may survive. No one ever comes out and says, like, Rudolph, we were wrong. We shouldn't have been, like, such assholes to you. We were sorry you were such cunts. It's like, well, good thing we found a use for this fucking nose. Otherwise, you know where you'd be, right?
Yeah, the glue factory.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, oh, joy, I'm so happy. You're like, no, Rudolph, you should be leading the reindeer revolution. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly, It's funny also, too, when there's like I guess you would say Santa purists who don't like to have Rudolph in there. They're like, no. They're like, Rudolph is like it's almost like they're like, he's like the Jesus to he's like the modern age, like Santa like this. It's like, no, we're old school. We're Old Testament, old Santa.
You get those people that like, they don't want, there's like keep Christ and Christmas. It's Christ Mass. Christ Mass, goddammit. And then, like, they put in Santa, like, motherfuckers. And then someone else comes in and puts in Rudolph. Like, you fucking cucks. But it's like, I think also that the Rudolph thing, though, I want to say, and a lot of stuff usually starts off this way, I want to say that was something, like, that was a promotional song or thing or like a little story for, like some electronics company at the time. Or like for like a warehouse or for a warehouse or something like that. Like, well, it's Christmassy, it's fitting. We'll make it into a story and we'll make it into a claymation, and here we are. Sometimes shit starts like that. I mean, the reason why Santa is as red as he is and all that is because he's is Coca-Cola. I mean, he had variations, but it was really Coca-Cola that really nailed down that look for him. I mean, there's other versions.
If the thing about it, if Pepsi did it, he would be blue.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He'd be like a variant, like Street Fighter costume.
Well, he was also like one of the inspirations. Like, oh man, I hit Y. Shit.
The wrong button. Damn it.
They're like, oh, now he's brown, and his skin is like black for some reason. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Yeah, all right, cool.
I don't know why it bothers me in Street Fighter though when I like get the wrong costume. It just feels like I don't know. It's weird because like in other games you'd be like, oh, cool, there's other costumes, but for some reason, like I think it's because it is the button thing, and then it just makes you. It almost just says that like, oh, he doesn't know how to fucking. He hit the wrong one.
Well, it's also because you try to remember which one is the proper.
And then they'll switch on you. I think because Alpha 3 is different than the other ones for some odd reason. It's like medium punch in that one instead of light punch.
Well, the other thing with that is, it's like it's just lazy because it's not a new costume; it's just color changing.
Yeah.
And then something that pissed me off is they had like a line of Street Fighter figures in like the early 2000s, and I had a couple of them. And the thing is,
were those the dual pack ones where it came with two characters?
No, they're like these big, like figures like this big.
Okay.
And they were usually in a pose. They were really cool, and I had a few of them. And they like would have it wouldn't be enough just like, okay, here's Ken. Just like you would like come across like, here is variant Ken. They'd each have like 5 different like colors of them. I'm like, son of a bitch, because you kind of come to you get an ultimatum. Like you're like, Ken Masters is really hard to find, but the only one they have here is Green Ken. So you're kind of running through your head as like a 14-year-old kid with not a lot of money. You're like, okay. I don't know if that's going to be the next time. This might be the only time I ever come across Ken Masters ever again. But he's fucking green. But what if I come by next time and he's red? This is the first time I've ever seen a Ken Masters here. So shit, you know. So it's kind of like the same thing. I could get Blanca, but he's fucking orange, you know. So
yeah, I want that weird variant one. I want the original one, you know.
I want to say like a red Akuma would be cool. Like I could say like red Akuma, but like, you know, beyond that, yeah. But yeah, the Santa thing though, like the purist thing with that. I think it's kind of weird because Christmas has changed like so much over the years, and we talked about this last year, I think. But Christmas wasn't always like sunshine, and not sunshine, obviously, but like lights and Christmas trees. A lot of it was just kind of like, it's cold outside, we're gonna die. Here's some ghost stories, but here's a little thing about like St. Nicholas to balance it out. Kind of, it was like half and half. It was like half wintertime Halloween, half joy. And then I think the Great Depression happened. Like, double down on the happy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck Yule Cat, fuck Krampus, get that shit out of here. We need to sell.
Yeah, get some electricity going, get it bright and colorful, make people fucking happy again.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
No, I think that's totally what kind of like happened and where all that kind of stuff came from. And oddly enough, though, is like this is something I think about a lot of times with Christmas. Anyways, is you remember like when we were kids, how like there used to be like people like really went to town on some decorations. Like you could go to you could literally drive out and there would be certain neighborhoods where it's like people they lit everything up, they put all the stuff out and everything like that, and just really went to town. And it was almost like you were going to like some kind of drive-through amusement park. Like that's how detailed some of the stuff was. Sometimes even had walkthroughs that you can kind of do. But as time has gone on, I'm not saying there's people out there. There's always a token house here and there that will decorate, of course, and they'll put some stuff up. They'll have the blow up things, some lights and everything like that. But I do think that it was really there was a certain generation. I kind of attribute it to World War II generation probably that went to town on this, and then as they kind of passed away in like the 90s and 2000s, that kind of hardcore tradition kind of has gone by the wayside.
Well, I think a lot of Christmas stuff, it's actually kind of there's tradition. I guess it's your own family tradition. You know what I mean? Like what's important to you. Because I think a lot of times you'll look at someone's Christmas tree and a lot of these ornaments look fucking tacky. But then you're like, oh, well, that's an ornament that's been passed down through the family, X, Y, and Z.
It was on sale.
It was on sale, you know. Exactly. It was on sale back in 1978.
Yeah, one of those ones they sold, when the clearance on January, 90% off.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like Aunt Ethel. That was the last Christmas you spent with her or whatever. So, that kind of shit, So, like, and then you get, like, so like, there's, like, I think there's that interpersonal thing. Because I'll be honest, like, I mean, I know I was making jokes about Rudolph. Like, I like putting that on at Christmas and watching it, but it's mainly just for nostalgia. I know it's not really a great movie, but it's just.
I still always I like the CG claymation part of it, or not CG. When I say CG, claymation, fucking old school CG.
I like the aspect of the claymation. I mean, story wise, you know what I mean. But like, I do think. I know I keep on derailing myself, but there is the one guy who's like harping on the elf that wants to make teeth. And that is like the most like stressed out, like his life is his work. It's like, what are you fucking doing? What are you? He's always like wide eyed, like, what are you fucking doing? You want to make fucking dental toys? What the fuck's wrong with you? Are you fucking straight? Like he is like this is clearly his only fucking. This is his life.
Yep, literally.
He goes to his candy cane apartment. He's like watching, like, he's having microwave dinners. Like, I want to see that guy's life. Just like this guy. Like, oh fuck, here comes Corey, like,
yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with me? He's like, holy shit, dude.
So stressed out.
Like, he's just like, he thinks that, like, if he sucks Santa's dick hard enough, because even he changes his voice. He's like, okay, guys, we're going to do a little song for Santa. A 1, a 2. And then Santa's like, well, that was fucking shit, and, like, leaves. And then he's like, what the fuck was that? What? The falsettos! What was wrong with the falsettos? Like, a fucking dentist boy is in here. Motherfucker! I'm sorry, I derailed it. We're talking about Christmas traditions, right?
Yeah, well, that's, I guess, a Christmas tradition for that guy.
I got a little lightheaded right there.
But yeah, no, there is that kind of thing too, where you just see different things. But I do think that like there's less and less. I can just notice it when you just drive around town. That's the easiest thing to notice. They're not saying there's still some places that decorate, but I remember that there used to just be full-on neighborhoods that went to town, and that was a big deal. You went and drove out, you saw the lights and all that kind of stuff, Nowadays, I feel like if you went to drive out to find the lights, you'd be like, okay, well, there's one there, and then 60 houses later, oh, there's another one over there,
I feel like it's something to the effect of, I don't know. That you brought up the World War II thing, the generational thing. That might be a case. It also might be a case because there's like somewhere I feel like it's like very thoughtful in the way of like it's very minimalist, but it looks really good. They put it in the right way. There's sometimes they just get like 85 inflatable like Mickey Mouses and like Grinches, and then like
1,000 lights,
mix match lights. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It just looks like
it was like, just like how much can we jam in this real estate?
yeah, it's like the electrical parade just vomited on this fucking house right here, So it's kind of like I think there's that, but I mean, for someone, that's their Christmas tradition, having the house look like, like seizure-inducing. We just kind of stare at it.
Yeah, it should have like a warning that 1 out of 1,000 kids might get a seizure from this house.
Don't look at it directly,
Yeah, one of those things. But yeah, no, I do notice that there's kind of like, and I mean, a lot of times this is what I always kind of assume when people go, oh, people don't do things as much as they used to. I'm like, well, there used to be less things you'd put your money into. Like, now, I mean, I hate to sort of say it, but nowadays there's so many different variants of like what you can kind of buy and so on. I think there was that one that back in the day is just, you bought a couple more Christmas things every single year. You know what I mean? You didn't have video games, you didn't have computers, you didn't have electronics and all these other things that were, in a sense, sucking up your cash,
Yeah, that was the electrical bill on some of those houses that went all out like that.
Yeah, well, especially because, like, old school lights, like nowadays everything's LEDs and so on like that, so it's probably not that big of a deal, like, light-wise. But, back in the day when they're those, every bulb's probably like 35 watt.
Yeah.
Blowing out circuit breakers and all kinds of stuff, it used to be like a hardcore investment.
We still have the same Christmas lights on our house. My parents, they still have the same Christmas lights on their house from when my dad was a kid, I believe, and they just swapped the bulbs out where they needed to. So
and that's it.
I can only imagine how much that is, but that's their house.
Yeah, as I said, some people got to have lights and so on.
But it's the one stream around the house, not going all over the place, not making it look like it's Santa's Candy Cane Lane or some shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I always do kind of appreciate when people put some decorations up and so on like that. It's the same thing with like Halloween and whatnot. It's always kind of fun. I also noticed that I have seen some houses that where like somebody had their Halloween decorations up and they had like those big like werewolves and skeletons and all that kind of stuff. What they did for Christmas is the same decorations, but they put like Christmas hats on them and like strung like a little green like tree stuff around it. I was like, oh, there you go. I like that.
I guess that's the thing you can do for like Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. You can put some Nightmare Before Christmas stuff out there for Halloween, and then November comes around. Fuck it, just leave it up. Who gives a shit? And then when you get to Christmas, says just put like the frosty version of the spinny mountain behind them, and then like Christmas hats. So we're good. All right, cool.
Well, yeah, I always think about that Nightmare Before Christmas like that. It was the perfect like marketing ploy. It'd be like you can literally get 2 major holidays. Make it last for a 3-month period, and really like because I always feel Disney, especially nowadays, makes so much money off that movie. It's like
there's a movie they were afraid. They
were afraid. They put Touchstone pictures on it back in the day and everything like that. They were afraid, and it's like nowadays it's like that movie probably makes more money than almost any other classic Disney movie, I would say.
Yeah, well, it's also because that movie came out. It was originally going to be a Disney film, and then they were like, we don't know. And something that there was even a point where like, and I'm not like I liked the movie. I liked it a lot more when I was a kid, and I wasn't really even in like a big goth kid. I just liked the movie.
Yeah, ironically, when I was a kid, I disliked the movie really hardcore, and then I've kind of come around to like, oh, okay, I understand it now.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's like Tim Burton's like he just kind of came with the idea like here's a couple of sketches, go, like it's the other guy who
the other guy the guy who doesn't get fucking credit, the guy who actually is the director,
the guy he's basically
shit, we don't even know his name.
He's a stop motion legend. He did James and the Giant Peach. He did that movie a little bit ago that was Wendell and Wild, that dark one that was it was like produced by Jordan Peele. Mm-hmm. He and I think he did some stuff in Laika. I don't remember. I think he did Coraline. So
okay, yeah.
So he's and he also they can't all be hits. He did Monkey Bone, but can't all be hits.
Monkey Bone.
But no, they actually because they're like we're afraid Disney's going to shut this down or come going to strangle this thing. So what's the first thing we're going to get done? We have something to show them. Like we're gonna do the what's this, and we're gonna show like the whole like part where he's bouncing through like the North Pole, and then like this looks like a fun happy Christmas movie. Yeah,
yeah. Don't show the beginning. Yeah,
and then they get to the like this is how all that shit later. Like what the fuck? Like hey, you guys signed up on it. This is the movie. We didn't fucking what the fuck is this shit? So and then that's somewhere in there like, well, he just came off Batman, he just came off this. Make sure to put Tim Burton's name, Tim Burton's, even though he was just like a producer and he just sketched a couple of characters. Maybe he came up with part of the story.
Yeah, he probably did some of that. But
Danny Elfman actually originally he was going to voice Jack, but then he's like, I feel because I think that's also when he was making the transition from Oingo Boingo to like. Orchestral work, I think.
Yeah, and doing movie scores and all that stuff.
So the character of Jack really spoke to him because he was like, he's just like, I want to try something new. I'm tired of this. He's just like, these songs, they speak to me. I want to play Jack. And then they're like, this is a documentary I saw somewhere, and they're like, yeah, we don't think he's that good of a voice actor. But we could do all the parts where he's singing. So they left all the singing.
Let him sing. Yeah. No, yeah. As I said, that one's an interesting one. As I said, when I was a kid, I really disliked any kind of animation that was in a sense weird. Like it was one of those ones. Like I wanted my animation to look kind of realistic. Like in a sense, Johnny Quest, Batman, Scooby Doo, like that kind of stuff. For
the way the dog's walking and talking, like that.
Yeah, just like real life, But
this kid's ready for reality. God damn it!
But when it was like James and the Giant Peach, I did not like that as a kid or something like that. And I feel like I could probably go back and watch that nowadays. I go, oh, okay, cool. I understand what it is. I know what I'm getting into. I can respect weird animation. But like, yeah, when I was a kid, it was like I remember I had like some girl brought in Actually, I know exactly what it was. Brought it into class, like Nightmare Before Christmas, like on VHS and whatnot, right when it came out.
Depending who it brings it in, that really like sets the bar.
Well, ironically, it was actually a good, like one of those like day one friends of like,
okay.
like ye old and like 4 years old, like who you were first hanging out with. But I just remember like she brought that in. She thought that was the greatest movie ever, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like 5 or whatever the heck it was when we were like, maybe a little bit older than that by the time that movie came out, but yeah, it was just one of those ones I was like, I'm not into this. This is not my, like, animation style, Yeah.
No, I could see that. I mean, it's your friends, okay, but depending on, like, Marcus brought this in. Like, fuck. Marcus brought it in. What did Marcus bring in? He brought in, like, what was it called? I just had in my head a second ago. Shit. That cock-a-doodle-doo or whatever. The
Rock-a-doodle.
Rock-a-doodle, yeah.
He brought in Coonskin. That Ralph Bakshi one.
Fritz the cat.
Could you just imagine like the teacher not really just going, okay, whatever, it's a cartoon, puts play, and about like probably 20 minutes into it, like, oh,
doesn't even pay attention.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, like
this is the opportunity for me to play some just get some paperwork. Just like pops it in place. Like, okay, whatever. F, fuck this kid. B, D, fucking dumbass. Fuck that kid. All of a sudden, you're like, man, these phonies, man. I got the system's trying to bring us down. We could be living life. We could be fucking. We could be living, being free. Like, what? It's like think of all the things I could be doing, man. I could be like monologue. Jump to the part where he's like having sex with like the fucking crow, which is meant to be like a black lady in her 60s, and she grabs him by the dick for a second. Or how long has this shit been going on? And then there's a part when the army starts attacking Harlem, and it cuts to Mickey Mouse and Donald. Whoa, waving the American flag.
It'd be like the teacher's like, you know what we've gone so far? You're getting an education. There's some things I now don't have to explain.
It's like, okay, shit.
Okay, kids, I'm going to have you all sign a waiver that you will not speak of this movie outside of class ever again.
Tell you what.
Especially to your parents.
Don't speak this to anybody, and I can promise you something. Pizza party every Friday.
Yeah.
Every Friday, all you got to do is not fucking talk. And if it comes out, we will find out who, and you have that person to blame. Not me. You'll have that person to blame. Right, Stevie?
Yeah. Yeah, or Marcus, who brought this fucking movie in.
Marcus?
Or should I say, jerk off Johnny?
Yeah. What kid was? I mean, even that movie though, I think like maybe it's just like there's cats, there's like boobs or whatever. So maybe that's just something about the movie that would make people jump up. Or there's boobs and there's swearing, but it's not really even a funny movie, really. At the end of the day.
It's more like I think it's just an interesting movie of like really giving you that 60s, 70s time.
A kid stumbling across.
Oh yeah, well yeah, why a kid would be into it? Yeah, because it wouldn't be necessary. It's not like heavy metal or
not
something
me.
Like that.
I'm watching it because of the cat tits.
Yeah. Fuck, I was pissed that Rouge wasn't in Sonic 3.
Yeah. That movie gets an immediate like hard R. This one's Rouge. Like, you guys didn't have to go that hard with the physics, okay?
Yeah, you put Dead or Alive to shame.
Yeah, you could have just like put her in their armored outfit from Sonic Heroes. That would have been fine. But no, you had to go beyond. Every turn, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, just smack Sonic across the face. Just real like provocative shots of like strange angles and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean the games had that at some points, so even like all her songs were very kind of like it's like it sounds like someone on the verge of coming, like and all Knuckles levels like yeah, motherfucking pumpkin patch.
Yeah, punch that shit in its face. I'm Knuckles, suck my dick.
Word for word, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're probably getting pissed anyways because this level's so fucking hard to figure out where those gems are, and there's a time limit to top it off.
That was only Rouge's on the Prison Island level. That was like fuck,
Yeah, there's like 2 levels sometimes you think about you think there's more, but there's really just two, and it's one for Rouge and one for Knuckles, where it's just like you're almost guaranteed you have to play them about 2 or 3 times. Like you're lucky if you get it done in the first try. You just got fucking lucky. Let's be honest. There wasn't skill. It was luck.
Knuckles is aquatic mines, so you got to navigate through all the water, and then you have to go through. Also, you don't realize at the time, but just to save yourself trouble, you have to find the fucking breathing apparatus, which is way in the fucking corner somewhere.
Yeah,
out of the way.
It's corner deep down. Yeah,
and then Rouge has she has like 2 levels that are a real fucking pain in the ass. She has the Prison Island one, and then she has the level because it's timed. And then she has her Space Colony Arc level, where it's doing like a proto Mario, like a proto Mario Odyssey thing. No, Mario Galaxy thing, where there's different planets and you have to jump from planet to planet.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Turn on the gravity for different planets. So it's just like shit.
Yeah. No, they have that kind of stuff. Oh man, yeah. But beyond that, like
Christmas, right?
Yeah, Christmas. Yeah, Christmas. Well, I guess it could be a Christmas memory.
Sonic brings Christmas cheer.
Always. And
this kid's got Sonic stuff for Christmas.
Yeah, somebody's got to get Sonic stuff. I got that Sonic Advent calendar thing that I've yet to open up like a lazy person, but...
Yeah. Well, this close to Christmas, might as well see what you're getting.
Yeah, I'll get to it, but yeah. Well, even if thinking of Christmas, was there anything that was ever like a toy or a present that you ever got that just really stood out more than anything else?
I think, well, yeah, probably, because the thing is, a lot of times you get people who like... Before I lead into that, I just want to say this. I think sometimes people like... or teach like capitalism and like commercialism and Christmas, that is an issue, but another part of it is like, let's not lie, this is how you get kids into it. You give them some magic in the world and say there's a magical man bringing you shit, and then from there, that morning of like, what is it going to be? That stands out to a kid.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when people like, I can't believe, like, only thing he likes about Christmas is he gets a day off and he gets free shit. He's 5, of course,
He gets a day off, like what, from like the mill?
From school. Might as well be. To a kid, you might as well say like, oh yeah, I feel it, Dad. I feel it. Going down to the mill, going down to like, first period in Miss Holter's class. Yeah, I fucking feel it, So it's like, I feel like up to a kid, yeah, it's just like you get a day off or you're on vacation and then you get like a magical man visits you get shit. Let's be honest, that's like probably the only real sense of magic a kid has for a little while,
Yeah, well, it's that, and then I also say, because kids aren't allowed to get jobs at the mill in America at 6 years old, as a kid, there's only a couple of moments where you kind of generally get
stock
stuff
up for the year.
Yeah, so you got to make sure you've done good all year round for pretty much your birthday and Christmas. That's generally about it.
Maybe Easter, like maybe.
Yeah, Easter you might get something there too.
There might be like a small action figure, like in a Easter basket or something like that.
Yeah, but for the most part, like that's kind of it. You don't have your own cash yet. You don't got a job down at the factory.
Yeah. Can't go down to the lumber yard, nothing like that.
So you look forward to it. So it does make kind of logical sense, because that's almost like the time it's like, okay, and it says, I worked hard all year long. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get myself a Sega Genesis.
Yeah, exactly. You're putting in your time. It's like, okay, I was really good. Maybe I'll get this or that. I guess the things, the biggest one. There's one Christmas, and it was probably like one of those Christmases where. I'm going to like sound like a little spoiled rich kid, but it was probably one of those Christmases where you got like everything on your list, And for me, that was the year the N64 came out.
Yeah.
N64, I got Buzz Lightyear, like what was the real Buzz Lightyear at the time.
Like the good one. The
good one.
Where the wings actually popped out.
The wings popped out. Granted, technology wasn't there yet, so they only came out this far.
Yeah.
But still, you'd take it.
That's better than the one where you have to plug the wings in.
Yeah, no, it was like the life-size Buzz Lightyear. It was an N64, Mario 64. They had this weird, of all things, they had like this Spider-Man and like this Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but it was like Spider-Man and Wolverine. It wasn't like Spider-Man versus like Spider-Man and Wolverine versus their own enemies. It was like Spider-Man and Wolverine, like, come on, motherfucker!
Yeah. What was this feud that they had right beforehand, like fucking the Avengers Tower?
Yeah. It was,
like, we're gonna put the fucking gloves on.
So it was like, yeah, Spider-Man.
Peter, get your little boy ass over here.
Get a little spider pussy over here. In them tights, yeah.
Logan, we don't have to solve this. We have to. Don't you take this away from me.
It's Christmas morning.
I'm not letting fucking Peter Parker get away with this one more fucking year.
Like, yeah.
Hey, Peter, take the shirt off. We gotta be like men. Just imagine you get the Rockstar room. It's like, why do they have both? They have their shirts off. They have their masks on still, but they have their shirts off.
Well, even like Wolverine had the claws out too. So it's like, yeah, he had.
So
like,
he had some reach.
He had reach, yeah.
Did Spider-Man have just like some like web that went out like an extra 3 inches?
No, they were like this big, and they were just like, they had to get them individually. I just wanted Spider-Man at the time, but like it was just motherfucker, just doing that, So, but it was that. Yeah, like that's the big stuff I remember from that Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that one, the year Sonic and Knuckles came out, when that was a big one. I also got Toy Story that same year, so on Genesis. So yeah, there's some of those. Yourself?
Yeah, I would say that would definitely, like, I want to think of like kind of the Genesis, because that was the first time I ever had an actual video game system. I used to play them at like other people's houses, or like the arcade, of course, but. Got the Genesis, and it was the Sega Sports Edition one that came with Greatest Heavyweights or whatever, the boxing one that was really fun, and then there's the tennis one on there, and then I got Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And this one Christmas?
And this is one Christmas.
That's a good stack right there.
And
did it come with Sonic?
I got Sonic 2 like a couple weeks afterwards, because I remember getting Sonic 2 and a 6-button controller later. There was a third game. Zombies. Yeah, Zombies, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. God, I'm drawing a blank on what the other one was. Strange how that sometimes happens. But there was 3 of them. And in a sense, you could kind of almost say that was definitely the intro to, video game. I mean, it was almost that one where the parents are like, is this a good idea? I wonder if this, how hardcore is he going to get into this?
Are we giving him like a heroin fixing kit?
Yeah, but, and it almost kind of is, because I would only refer to, there used to be in high school, we would refer to the DS as like, oh, I got my heroin, because it was just a weird tie-in, because I remember reading Motley Crue's The Dirt at the same time. I'm like, well, I don't do drugs, but you know what my heroin is my DS, and I take it everywhere with me.
My anti-drug.
So I just remember, you just be in class, like, dude, what are you doing? Got my heroin, bro, I'm shooting up! You just know that if a teacher just overheard that ever so slightly.
Just that thing of I'm a gamer. I don't have a life. I have many. That type of shit.
Yeah, that sounds like some PlayStation Sony ad. Where it's like, how would you just focus on the fucking games? We don't give a fuck about this. You spent all this extra money on this. You have games that have great, cutscenes already. You don't
need to play Lou Reed and show people bounce off a fucking trampoline or some bullshit.
Yeah, so where you let some marketing person make the decision on that.
To the womb, to the womb, to the tomb, I'm like a child. Okay. Show footage from her Event Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I don't need this bullshit of people, not even people playing a fucking video game, but whatever. It's that way. But no, I guess that Christmas though for me, I guess that was a big deal, because I knew of the N64, but I did not know to what level it was. I knew what it was. Just turning it on, and Mario face, hello, holy shit!
And you can grab his face and stretch it.
Yeah, I grabbed him, and then opening that game and what a jump that was from just world to that,
Well, and I think that's one of those ones it's hard to probably explain how big of a jump playing Mario 64 is to anybody who was not really there for the time. Because
listen up, kids.
Yeah, listen up. Let me tell you, when we jumped into Mario 64, it was a massive leap in technology. You wouldn't believe it, but we went from playing things like Mario World and Sonic the Hedgehog and all these 2D games that are great and excellent in their own rights, but when you see Mario in a full 3D environment that you could run around and interact with, it just blew your fucking mind.
We were still recovering from Kurt Cobain's death, you see.
And this is the only way to get off of it. We needed a Japanese plumber to explain to us that it's going to be all right, and we don't need him actually.
You hear that?
It's fine. Don't worry. Dave Grohl's going to be doing all kinds of stuff.
Did he die in 94?
I think, it was 94.
Okay.
So I got my Sega Genesis to make up for that.
All right.
Because that was when I got it. It was Christmas 94. You know?
Pac, Biggie, the Cobain, and then like, what are we gonna do? Oh, hold on, yeah.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
That's all it took. Here I am just shitting on fucking icons. Like, it's okay. We got video games now. It's okay.
It's okay. It'll be all right.
Anything. These people, these artists that change the industry. It's okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's that one that, you know, and I think about it all the time, because there's a couple of those real, like, 3D games at that point that just blow your mind. Like, Tomb Raider's the other one, too, that I think about. Playing that for the first time, or Twisted Metal 1, like, that just really was, like, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I could see that being, like, that right there being a big jump, especially just from, like, I mean, that's that whole era of just, like, going from 2D to 3D. And seeing them navigate that, now maybe at times it seems kind of clunky, but you're surprised how many of these games still stand up, you know?
Yeah, no. And that's how I always think about, like, as I always look at both Mario 64 and Tomb Raider 1, is how well they stand up. No matter how old they get, like, they play perfectly fine. Like, because they're the way that they're designed, it was like, that's it. And it's like, the thing about, like, these games are pretty much like the first of the 3D games. You know, there is some stuff, you know, slightly beforehand that kind of, you know, paves the way, but even still, these are like those ones where it's like, hey, here's the system, fucking enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, this is the next level. You know, this is Attitude Era. This is all the stuff right here.
There was that thing, though, if you got, like, you know, because if you got a video game back then, usually that was probably your 1 or 2 video games you get for the year. So if it's like Christmas Day or something, or your birthday, you get like a video game you don't like, it's like, shit, this is what I'm stuck with for a fucking year, you know?
Well, and then the thing, too, I noticed is with those kind of games is you kind of sort of forced yourself to like them. Like, you did play, like, nowadays, it's like, as an adult, if you didn't like a game, I mean, obviously, you just go, fuck it, I don't care. I have money. Like, I'll just go get another one, you know? And I'm at that point, too, so it's like, you get the point, like, well, I just wanted to try it out anyway, so I've got what I wanted from it, and you're done. But when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I guess I'm going to put some time into this, and we're going to learn to love this. Even if this game is kind of a pain in the ass, we're going to force our way through it.
There was a bit. That was Pilot Wings.
You didn't like Pilot Wings?
Not really. I wanted to just go out and do like adventure shit, and there was the I guess adventure aspect of Pilot Wings. You know what I mean? There's not the adventure, but the exploration.
Cause not like the getting a fucking license like it's Gran Turismo type thing.
Like not like just flying around and just doing all this shit. Like that aspect of it was like fun because you weren't used to doing that in 3D at the time.
Yeah.
So, but then suddenly, you know, like okay, fly through these rings, land. All right, good job. And a little bit like okay. You gotta really stick that landing too. Like okay, you know, as a kid, like it just felt like I just really want to like fly around and shoot shit and do all this kind of stuff. You know, I wanted Star Fox. That's what I wanted. Yeah,
ironically, Pilot Wings, it sounds weird. It almost feels like it's more of an adult game,
it
like
is,
in a weird way. It reminds me like one of those ones that like someone's dad would play. Be like, oh, it's kind of cool, actually. Oh, it's like you got to get a license and you're practicing. It's like, oh, you get a job off this, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. You have to keep an eye. You have to keep an eye on like how fast you're coming in and the speedometer and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, because it had more of that kind of stuff in there. Like it's one of those ones. It's a novel experience. Is how I always felt Pilot Wings sort of was. You know, but yeah, it's not Star Fox 64. Let's be honest.
It was like because you know my parents when that Christmas they couldn't find Mario 64 for a while, so they just got Pilot Wings, and then like well at least he has a game to play, you know. And then Mario 64 came out, like they finally came across it, like finally, okay, all right, this one. And they saved that one for like my birthday. It's like no, it's great. It's a fantastic thing. It's awesome.
It's 3D, yeah.
You know.
Well, and the weird thing too is when the N64 came out, it literally didn't have that many games. Like, and strangely in Japan, because it came out in like March or whatever in Japan,
games, right?
It just had Pilot Wings and Mario 64. That was it. You know,
Shadows of the Empire later came out, right?
Yeah, cool. Shadows came out in December, so that you could have got that for Christmas as well too, I guess. And there's a few other ones, right? Turok, I think, comes out, and that might actually be January, but there's only a handful of games for that, which is kind of weird to think because nowadays, even in the last like 15 years, there's generally 15 plus games you can always get like at launch, if not more.
Yeah. Well, that was also a point where I feel like for a minute there's that point where you can have a lot of big games on launch, and now then slowly it's become like we got a couple of remasters from the previous system. Here you are,
Yeah, that's kind of that always does sort of bum me out, like. is that nobody does launches too exciting anymore. PlayStation, Xbox, they just do the thing like, your PS5 and Xbox Series X come out. Well, guess what? Your PS4 and Xbox One games are upgraded. Be fucking grateful.
Yeah,
we'll get you something eventually.
Yeah,
whenever we feel like it.
We'll let you know.
But like it seemed like back in the day, like that was the thing, is like the launch, and ironically too, a lot of times launch games, or I always say close to, like if they come out in like the first couple months, that's pretty much a launch game.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be maybe day one, but like if it's in like that first quarter, it's good to go. Is that sometimes like a lot of those like ones are like the best games there is, because obviously Mario 64. I hate to sort of say it, that probably still is damn near the top 3 best N64 games ever made.
I remember a Christmas, one more Christmas, made me sound like, this Christmas I got this, I got that. But like, this probably my, as far as like, as far as like, getting shit goes, probably my best Christmas, right? One of my best Christmases. It was like right as we were getting ready to leave San Jose. It was the last Christmas we were in San Jose, actually.
Yeah.
And, I didn't think I was going to get this because I knew we were kind of on a budget, so I was really grateful. And I got the GameCube, and with the GameCube, I got Super Smash Bros. Melee and Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Rogue Leader, whatever the first one, whatever the second one was.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron. And then I had enough money.
Maybe just Rogue Leader. Maybe that's the second one. Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the second one is.
Yeah.
And then I had enough money to go and because somebody's this aunt or whoever gives you some money.
Yeah,
I had enough money to go get Dave Mirra BMX2. We went into town later, so
granted that is a good game. I do like that one.
That wasn't Christmas Day, but that was late, like a few days later, because you're still on Christmas vacation. So when you go, like when you get a few things to go drop off, like we're just returning this or whatever. You go like, okay, cool. While we're here, let me run over to EB Games.
Yeah, good old EB.
Dave Mirra BMX2 and call it good, But like, I just remember that, and it's totally like, it is like, I think a teenager Christmas, a young teenager Christmas to a T. Because I remember we had a big Christmas party. It was a big Christmas party that day, and most of the day I was in my room just playing Smash Brothers or Rogue Squadron. And please. You're going to laugh when you say this. And I also got Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory on CD. So just basically
playing that, your dad kind of walks in the room and stops, listens. Not right now.
He just just walks by just like, oh, is he listening to some like metal shit? Like, I'm convinced this is too much pressure to take. Like, okay. I'm speaking to my therapist right now. In the end,
your dad's just like, oh, that guy's gonna kill himself one of these days.
That was the other vocalist, but yeah. I feel a little bad because for a while I was like, because I liked Linkin Park a lot when I was younger, and then I'm like, they're just kind of milking this whole I'm sad, I'm angsty shit. They're just milking it. And like, oh, that guy felt it. He went through with it. I feel a little bad.
You almost got to give him credit for it in the long run. Like, it wasn't just a gimmick.
I just felt bad because I was just like, oh, this whole time I was just like, oh, he's just milking this I'm a sad 16-year-old shit, whatever. And like, oh, it was real. Sorry, I didn't listen. Nothing I could have done about it.
I gave him my $15.
$30 about the second album. Actually, I bought 3 of their albums.
Yeah, you got a few of them.
There was the one where it's like the green one where they remastered it. It was only the first album. They like remixes, and then there's this actual second album. So, and then after that, I'm like, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Wish them luck from here on out with their new singer and all that.
I do gotta say, since you brought up GameCube and everything like that, I think that is the best launch of any system ever made. Like,
especially for Christmas time.
Yeah, especially for Christmas time, and then just the first couple months of GameCube. Like, there is so many good games that come out for that system. It's mind blowing because it's like, okay, you had Rogue Squadron, you had Smash Brothers Melee, which is the defend of that game that game carries people to this day.
Luigi's Mansion,
Luigi's Mansion.
It's not Mario proper, but it's Mario adjacent.
Yeah, and that was kind of a cool one too. It's like, oh, you're giving Luigi a shot. It's a survival horror game, and it's excellent. And then there was a handful of other stuff that all came out right at that same time too. But just those 3 titles alone are already so impressive. it was just it set you up. I think I almost want to say 007 Agent Under Fire was one of the first ones too in the first couple of months.
Bloody Roar, did that come out soon?
I think so. Yeah, there was. I remember they had Crazy Taxi, the Dreamcast or the GameCube version came out there. So if you didn't have that,
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Yeah, I think that was pretty, in maybe the first 6 months,
Yeah.
It was a good start where, you felt like you had a bunch of stuff. And sadly, that was kind of the last time that ever happened. Because after that point, video game systems kind of you almost had to wait 6+ months for something to come out. If you were lucky, you got one thing. Like with the Wii, you had Twilight Princess to hold you, and Wii Sports, of course. But then after, it took a moment for something else to come out,
We'll be like, okay, well, this was originally going to be the closer for the GameCube, but
here you go.
Oh, this was originally the closer for the Wii U, but here you go.
Yeah, it's nowadays it's like come on, guys, just
Zelda became the opening and closer.
Yeah, they just turned Zelda into and then Mario kind of comes out a little bit later day anymore, But yeah, that GameCube launch, and that was the one too, because everybody I knew, everybody got their kind of GameCubes and so on like that. So it was pretty much a GameCube party left and right for so much stuff, and God, there was a ton of great games for it just right off the bat. And you had the good old multiplayer bash and so on like that. I always look at those times as GameCube really was a really good golden era.
It was. I think GameCube starts off better than it ends, because I remember near the end there would be so many not to the level of Wii, but just a lot of these kind of weird kind of kiddie games that no one really gave a shit about, but you still had the classics that made it. Where Wii was kind of notorious for having you'd go to GameStop or whatever, and they'd have just a giant wall of all this
experimental company games in a sense.
It'd be experimental, or it'd be hey, here's a little party game for $20. It's all motion control bullshit. Who wants to play Grey's Anatomy on Wii? So that kind of shit. So
well, I think there's a lot of companies that kind of got into making video games thinking they're going to get that Wii money.
Well, plus Wii's I remember they thought we want to make it so anybody can play video games. We want to make it so grandparents can play video games. They'll play Wii Sports, and that's where it's going to stop.
Yeah. They ain't buying Twilight Princess.
Yeah. They're not going to suddenly say, you know what? I like the Wii bowling. I like the Wii golf. Let's see what this mad world is all about.
It's black and white. I can understand that.
Yeah.
It's my color spectrum. When I was a boy, you don't realize this is what it all looked like.
Everything was black and white.
Color wasn't invented yet.
Till 1973. I just woke up one morning holy fuck! Almost had a heart attack. I'm pretty sure that's what killed Bruce Lee.
The only thing I recognized was my black neighbor.
You're the same. What's happening?
Why is everything else different? Why am I this pinkish color? This is not who I am.
I'm a pink man.
So Mad World takes me back to what it used to be like, and I feel safe in this world.
To the good times, when I can walk around with a chainsaw.
And kill some shit.
Back in Eisenhower's America.
Oh, Mad World was one of those very experimental Sega games that kind of came and went, but it was kind of a neat one.
It's also one of those things where Nintendo we're for the family, but every so often we got one for the edgy teenage brother who wants to be left alone, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there seems like the kid who likes Papa Roach. We got something for you,
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying Papa Roach is actually real. There's a kid who thought he was edgy because he listened to Papa Roach. Just clarifying, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there was a time where that would be the edgy kid when 14 years old.
Well, there'd be that thing in anything in any movie or TV show to get across the kid was troubled. There'd either be a Misfits poster on the wall or Papa Roach.
I think that's how I went to, because Misfits, it says it in the poster.
Yeah.
He's a misfit.
I think by this point, maybe outdated. You probably have to do it 10 years ago. Somebody goes into a room Misfits poster. We got to get a therapist for this kid,
Yeah, well, that Misfit thing lasted for a while. I kind of wonder if it's one of those ones where that...
All the way into... Even though he wasn't really a troubled kid, it went all the way into fucking Transformers, where Shia LaBeouf's room had a Misfits poster in there.
Yeah.
And just I'm having trouble imagining Sam Witwicky being oh God, I really want to hook up with this girl, and I'm very upper middle class, and I'm really having trouble imagining that kid listening Kennedy's running like bottle-ridden body in the street. Ride, Johnny, ride. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Texas is the reason. President's dead.
Go, ride, Johnny, ride, Johnny.
I have trouble imagining him like, yeah, this is like my favorite band. You know?
Yeah, I turned to a Martian,
Or just like, or even like other dancing, like, or like, I got something to say. I raped your mother today, and I'm like, I can't imagine him just like singing to that.
I know that there is.
Bumblebee doesn't probably play that on the radio.
There's definitely a second wave. Like when I think of the Misfits, I really only think of the Danzig stuff. I never could get really into the other singer. Nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But so I guess there is that whole other era of Misfits that it might be.
I might be a Danzig song I was singing just now. Who knows? But yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, no, they used to always do that. Well, it's like that thing, too. It's like there's some of those bands that's like they have a long-lasting legacy, and then I kind of wonder, like, is that very old school nowadays? It's kind of like when, like, Beastie Boys finally went out, like, because Beastie Boys, like, lasted, like, 3 generations, and then all of a sudden...
One of them died.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that necessarily... I'm talking about, like, for, like, people listening to them, and then all of a sudden it got to a point where it's like, oh, Beastie Boys is now just old people music. Like, the youth don't respond to it anymore. So I just was like, oh, there is a cutoff spot, There
was a point where like, hey, you know what? You're not just watching a nerd movie. Kirk is listening to Beastie Boys while he drives his Corvette off a cliff. So it's not some nerd shit, all right? Get with the fucking program. Like, all right, Now it's just like, oh, it's old people shit now.
Yeah, that was like that one. I just always say that Christmas party that I did like the DJing for, and the guy comes up to me. He's like, oh man, we got to get some like old people shit up here so they can like get on the dance floor and whatnot like that. Like, and I was like, okay, what are you thinking? You thinking some like '60s stuff? You thinking some '50s? You're like, nah. How about some Beastie Boys?
It's like Savage Garden.
And I was like, I guess that is the old people stuff. Oh well. Boy, that makes me feel old myself. It was just like the same thing as in the Sonic 3 when they did like the 50 years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, fucking 50s and shit. And then I was like, 50 years ago was 74. Oh, well.
We weren't there for 74, but still, like, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah,
yeah, it felt like, yeah, I guess it is that far ago.
Even though I like that movie, there is a few little things where they keep on calling back the 90s, or I'm like, all right, stop it, you're not helping. Where it's just like they blow into the USB and it works suddenly. It's like 90s, best generation, high five. Like,
yeah, it's a little
stop.
Stop. Pump the brakes.
You're not helping.
Yeah,
we're already here.
Yeah, and technically that's almost like worse for the cartridge as the time goes on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need that extra water moisture from your mouth to go into it.
Just we got how many people I wonder how many people on that line they're like yeah like every time you get something like that, just kind of like, oh, it's like how it is in the 90s. Yeah, like every time.
Yeah, no, yeah. When they kind of have those like pandering comments, in a sense, I guess you would sort of say. And weirdly enough, I always think that I'm like that's more like an '80s thing, because that was more like you had to do that on the NES. Kind of had that issue more than anything else. I'm not saying you didn't do it on Super Nintendo and Genesis and maybe some N64, but it started to get like less and less like that. Because a lot of times, starting up an NES was like fucking starting up like a Model T back in the day. Like, you didn't just plug in and play.
Like a diesel engine or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of like trial and error to get a game to finally like boot up sometimes on a system that was realistically not that old by that point. Like maybe like in 92 or 3 and something like that. The thing's only been around for like 7 years and it's already like, yeah, old Betsy here, she's been through a lot. You know what I mean?
Like, time to put in a Karate Kid.
Yeah, fucking blue screen again. Okay, you gotta do the little judo chop here, pull it out, give a little blow. Okay, yeah, okay, let's try it one more time. Ah, fuck that blue screen again. Fucking shit. God fucking damn it.
We got a Fonzie yet.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You say Fonzie now, people are like, what?
Yeah, you're pulling your fucking 70s reference.
Well, it's like, thinking about it, like, it's like Fonzie, like, from an 80s show that took place in the 50s.
Henry Winkler. There's like fucking like crickets, and you're like, oh.
He's in Adam Sandler movies a lot of the time, like more crickets. Like Uncut Gems. Well, that's a good one, but no, he's not in Uncut Gems.
No, yeah, I know sometimes I've come to that point too where a lot of my references start to feel like really old, and it's like, oh, maybe I'm getting to like that Bruce Willis point where like like there was a time and that's what he knew, and His references are only getting older.
I try to keep up with shit, but sometimes just like it's read the room, so early to bring it back to Christmas lightly, I went and I was with my mom. We dropped off some like cookies to like some like friends, and we were talking about like we were talking about like my parents used to run a restaurant. They no longer rent anymore, and I'd feel awkward going in there just to, like because I don't know anybody who works there.
You just be like, sir, don't mind me, but I used to own this restaurant, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to just walk the premises and. Don't say anything to me though. I want to take it all in.
So many years ago, just walking in with a cane.
Yes, I remember this place here. I used to, cook up many meals right here.
10 years ago, like just walking by.
Oh, I see you've changed the microwave out. Now, that seems like blasphemy.
The stain from 07 is still here. I say, just going through.
Oh, I see you've got rid of the 7-Up machine.
It's Pepsi now.
Yeah, it's Pepsi now. Oh, I see. Yes. Quite sad. I'll carry on.
Off to kill myself. I have a hole buried in the back waiting for me.
I wanted to have a dad's root beer just to remember, but I guess you have taken that away from me, too.
Box is apparently all we have here.
So we see here, let me go out back. There's some things I've buried here, and I would like to retrieve them.
My old 10 pence. But no, like I just went through. A jar of marbles. Shit like that. No, but like no, we were talking about just going there for a minute. Like, maybe we'll go there later. I don't really know anybody there anymore, so maybe just be kind of like
be awkward.
It wouldn't even really be that awkward because no one would know. I'd just be going in there like, okay,
They all just fucking turn and look.
Yeah.
Who's this fucker?
Yeah, exactly. Or,
you don't belong here, boy.
Or
your time has passed.
Yeah, your time is gone the way of the dodo. Yeah. No, it's like, or just something to the effect of like, you go to the bar, there's one or two like locals you recognize. Like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, oh yeah, his parents used to own this place. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, and then you feel like you got to explain. And there's
like,
there's a conversation you would rather not have.
Oh, so you're like, check it up on us? No, not check it up. Just here, like that kind of shit. You know. So, but anyway, I was making long way of saying like I was like,
oh, you must be retired in the Bahamas right now.
No, not at all. But like, long way of saying, I was saying like maybe I'll go there. I don't know, go there wearing some Groucho Marx glasses or some shit, and that made this older guy just die of laughter.
You're like, my references still work.
I was like reading the room, like,
He gets it.
I can't go like, like decoy octopus. No. Groucho Marx. Here we go.
There we go. We know who it is, and we can use this reference, and it'll be all fine and dandy.
How many people would you say, like, just decoy octopus your way in there? Like, die 5 minutes into it? Like, yeah, well.
Yeah, well, I wasn't thinking about that part of it, I was just thinking more like,
It was kind of ballsy. Like, he's a master of disguise. So good at being a master of disguise, he's already fucking dead.
Yeah, he's rotting in that cell right next door. I can smell it.
Yeah. But, yeah. No, it's, yeah, sometimes you just get that thing of, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very nostalgic person. We actually went to San Francisco a little bit ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the Target where I bought my Switch. I used to eat at this restaurant sometimes, maybe 3 times.
No, I agree too. You get in that like nostalgic. It's the same thing going through San Francisco. I fucking wanted to drive by one of the places that I went to, but I couldn't take any fucking left turns there anymore.
Yeah,
it was like, dude, how long are we gonna be going here where we can't make a left turn? Like, fuck it, we've gone too far. We're never going there. We're never gonna see that road. It is not possible to get to it.
No, they added that, yeah.
They're like, you know what? We've had too many accidents before, so no more left turn. Which makes sense. I personally don't like to take left turns in life. If I can avoid a left turn, it's better that way.
I try to avoid 101 in San Francisco if I can. So yeah, I get not.
We got stuck on 101 because we couldn't.
That's what I meant.
Because we couldn't get off the fucking left turn thing. I'm like, I used to be able to make a left turn here. I remember these. I also used to walk on it, so maybe I wasn't paying any attention to how many turns I could do.
Yeah, I probably walked that city more than drove it. So.
Well, that was the best part. That's what always makes me so nostalgic for San Francisco is I think that is like one of the only cities, at least like in the U.S., that you can legitimately walk everywhere and you do not need a car. Because that's not how L.A. is. You can't. You have to somewhat have a vehicle or at least But even still, everything's so fucking spread apart down there. That's not how Sacramento is. Sacramento's too spread apart even. You know what I mean? Even San Jose, like a lot of that stuff, you can't just like walk to everything. But San Francisco, it's like literally everything you need is only a handful of miles away.
Yeah. Well, something I'll say, I do like San Francisco during Christmas time. I do like it.
No, they decorate it up nice. And ironically, it actually looks like it's in pretty good condition at the moment too. Like, because there was that period where they're like, "Oh, it's like fucking Mad Max out here." Like,
people
fucking
say that
falling apart. Like, you know what I mean? There's like, businesses are gone, desolation in the streets. You know what I mean? Like,
people say that, but it was like a lot of shit shut down for a minute right after the pandemic. But then things took like anything takes a minute to open up.
And it repaired itself back. And I even was living in San Francisco around that time, and some stuff, like when it was all shut down, it was all weird. You just not that I frequently went to Union Square, but you just go through Union Square. It's like a fucking ghost town. Like, it did make you feel like you're in 28 Days Later or some shit. But then it took a minute, but it kind of back up. And I mean, I don't know if I want to live there again for how expensive it is and the kind of. Well, yeah, we even kind of learned just in Japantown how fucking expensive everything got there.
Yeah,
it was like, what the serious fuck?
Because part of me was like, you know what, I'm here. I might buy some like anime shit or some fuck it. I'll say it. Maybe I'll buy a Pokemon plushie. Fuck it.
I got fucking Pokemon shit here all over the place.
There's that point where like that'd be a harder one to like kind of pull off and say, just like fuck it. I might, if there's one I really like, I might buy it. Like, $25 for something this fucking big? Are you shitting me? I can get that shit at Target,
Well, the weirdest thing too is like, it's not that Japantown's not even a touristy place there. Like, nobody mostly ever go. If you kind of go to visit San Francisco, you generally don't go to Japantown. Like, it's literally just the locals that are there. So it's like, who the fuck are you selling this shit to?
Yeah. So then like they'd be selling you like figures for like $50 that you've seen other places for like 14.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a bummer because I used to feel like I liked that Japantown more than Little Tokyo and LA, but I'm like, no, Little Tokyo and LA is at least normal prices.
No, this shit was like, what the fuck's going on, But yeah, and plus a lot of like, for all I know, this shit's bootleg too.
Yeah, well, it's all probably AliExpress stuff. Let's be honest. Like, I know exactly where the source of all this stuff is. So that's where you're getting. I mean, I get it. There's got to be a little bit of a markup. I don't mind that. You are a store. I get it. You have rent and all that stuff to pay. But like, there's a point where it's like, okay, $5 more. That's one thing. When you go like $25 more, dude,
for something this big.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, fuck that shit. But
how the fuck that place is still around? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm wondering it's a fucking front. Now I'm thinking about.
Yeah, now it's like because everything there was just like, I'm like, why is everything? And like, I mean, it was. I couldn't figure that out because it didn't used to be like that. I remember it used to be just kind of normal prices and so on like that. And
but even regardless of that, though, like, no, San Francisco. I mean, from going there briefly, it was. I mean, depending on where you're at, parts of it were kind of a little rough. I mean, not even really rough. Like, it would depend on like I remember a financial district area. That was kind of rough with some of the homeless people, depending on the time.
Yeah, that's where I had a homeless person like missile kick me, whatever.
Like a cami spinning kick.
Yeah, literally. Like, I was just walking and whatnot, and it was like me and this chick Danielle or whatever, and we were like walking to probably like class or something like that. And this homeless guy just runs up and like flies and like missile kicks me, and it like hits me in the chest, and he just like bounces off. And it's that one that like I'm almost like. For a second, like, what the fuck? And then he's just running fucking away. And I felt like he said something in the process, too. Like, I don't know if I was... I'm like, did I look homeless? Like I was invading his territory or something like that? And then it's like all of a sudden, then like,
some
about
warrior shit.
30 seconds later, you're like, oh, I fucking would have kicked that guy's ass. Look at you. He's good, he ran off and everything like that. You get all like tough guy. But in the moment, you're like, the fuck just happened?
Well, it's like one of those things, like, there'd be like, there's like the people that were like, like, you could tell they're dropped off from mental ward. They're just dropped off.
Yeah, they're just like, get the fuck out of here.
That's kind of more like the financial district.
Has like a I Love New York sticker on the back of that bus that dropped.
With a bird out there. Fuck you, they're a problem.
Yeah, because that is kind of how a lot of the homeless people got to San Francisco. Is other cities are like, hey, here's a place to dump them off.
You guys are open-minded. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, get out of here.
And then like you have like... then you have the ones and like not every of them. There are some that were pretty cool that actually, because I remember I worked at like a bike rental stand. It was in a lot of big tourist spots. So there are some local homeless people around there that were pretty cool. You kind of bullshit with. They're just people that just like, I don't want to work, but I don't piss people off or pester them. So
those are the homeless people that probably make like $40,000+ a year.
Well, like they're not like on a. I remember talking to a few of them. Like one of them would say, like they'd say I do a trim job. I'd sell a little bit of weed here and there, and then like I can just get by on that, and is what it is. I've worked a long time. I'm tired of it. Everything's so expensive. XYZ.
Yeah.
You get those people like, he's a pretty cool guy. Just
it's like, you go to Modesto, it's normal prices. No, fuck that.
I didn't get his whole story. I didn't get it.
He's like, shit, no. I got it good here.
I didn't get his whole story. I showed him some of the drunk Batman cartoons he made, and he was laughing at it. So, so he was, just one of those people, you'd see him every so often, and they do some help setting up some of the vendors and get a few bucks, and that was enough to get some booze and a Subway sandwich and call it good. So if that's what they want.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, then you don't have any of those. If you don't really have any of those extra expenses, you don't need that much money to kind of get by.
So those guys seem fine, and those weren't all of them, but those guys seem cool. But then there'd be the guys that are a little bit more, people that were like just fresh off the loony bin, basically just dropped off there. They were just kind of like, I'm free. There's those ones. Those are usually more financial district. And then the ones that were actually kind of the worst, just because the ones that were the worst were like the park ones, because they weren't actually crazy, or they weren't actually people with real problems. They were usually just street kids, or like kids.
Like my dad, trades stocks.
Yeah, man, I'm living off the edge. I'm living off the grid in the park. It's regulated by the government.
I sleep on my friend's couch every night, so I don't commit fully, but.
Like a few of those guys, I'm sure, were cool out there, but a lot of them were that, you know what I mean? Where, so I'm like, like that kind of shit. Like,
they're the people, I always call it the people that found a way out of working. Like, they're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
My dad will send me $500 anyways, and I don't have to work, and I just, yeah.
You can kind of tell which ones were real, which ones weren't, but yeah.
Yeah.
So. But there's like, these guys are in gangs. There's gangs over here, so you got to be careful not to fuck with them. Oh, what are they going to do? Throw a fucking Howard Zen book at me? Get the fuck out of here,
Yeah, I remember that was like the thing was when the first time going to like San Francisco, because I used to go there as a kid, and that was like me and Cisco and something like that, because Carla would always want to go there, and then we just get fucking dropped off and like, here you go, here you guys go, here's like $20 each, you could go roam the streets of San Francisco as 10-year-old boys.
Each in San Francisco back in the 90s.
Yeah, it was enough to like get something to eat and probably get a souvenir and that kind of thing. And so, we did a lot of exploring like that back then and whatnot. And, funny, even like homeless people, it's like one thing I always noticed is Chinatown never has homeless people in that area. But I think there's sort of a reason there. There's probably some like triad like cleanup crew because, you don't catch them there one bit. But, just like that kind of stuff of exploring and all that, was always kind of fun. And there is just a lot of neat stuff in there. And it's literally like the only like legitimate city, I kind of think, in California. I mean, it looks like a city, because everything else is like, there's a couple skyscrapers in Stockton and, San Jose, and even in LA, it has like, in downtown, there's a small section, but it's not like San Francisco looks. San Francisco, even though I know comparatively to New York, Chicago, especially Hong Kong and all that stuff, it's like a baby's like town, but
Yeah, by comparison, I can see that.
But and the other thing too I always think about is, once again, like when people say like San Francisco, if they try to say it's like, there's like dangerous stuff there and something like that, I'm like, I used to always make the joke that's like, dude, even like stuff like the Tenderloin, it's like a child's playground compared to like Stockton or something like that.
Well, I like how they think it's like, I like the movies, don't get me wrong, was San Francisco a real crime-ridden place around the time Dirty Harry was being, I guess Dirty Harry, what inspired Dirty Harry, one of the aspects was the Zodiac killings. Yeah,
because that's the first one. Yeah, it has a lot of that there.
That's one thing. But I'm really thinking about, like, aside from that, like, I don't know if it's really ever had the biggest crime rate. I'm sure an old person who's afraid to leave his house, they just hear the word Tenderloin and go, oh, but, like, at the same time, though, I mean, not saying bad shit can't happen.
No, it can happen, but it can happen anywhere, I guess.
But at the same time, I feel like people just, like, I honestly feel like a lot of times it's people that need to bring shit down to justify why they don't have to check it out or why they don't have to go.
Yeah,
not
maybe.
In every aspect, but some aspects.
Yeah, maybe something like that. The downfall too is like you bring up Dirty Harry and all that stuff. Is like San Francisco used to have tons of movies shot there. It felt like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then like, I know what happened is it got too expensive, and it's just that thing. It's like, well, yeah, we could shoot here, or we could shoot in Canada.
There was that point, like I feel like in 2018, like a lot of big blockbuster movies were taking place in San Francisco, even if they weren't actually shot in San Francisco. Maybe a couple establishing shots or something. Like the first two of the new Planet of the Apes movies took place in San Francisco.
They had that there. Venom. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
but
Venom. Yeah, a couple Marvel movies, like Ant-Man,
Shang-Chi.
Other stuff. There's other stuff too, but a lot of like big movies took place in San Francisco.
There was a little bit more of a comeback. I'm not saying there's not stuff there, but there were. I guess when I was there, it was like the driest time period of movies because the only thing that was shot there was like milk, you know. And
where else are you going to film that?
Yeah, exactly, you know, and the stuff like that. But back in the day, it used to feel like there was a lot of stuff. You know, of course, you get like Bullet shot there and everything like that.
Bullet, you get a lot of those. Yeah, you got Bullet, Dirty Harry.
In the 90s, you got The Rock, of course.
The Rock. I'm trying to blank on everything right now, but yeah, those ones came.
But you know what? It's like a lot of times gets like the most dangerous city in California on the list. Ironically, too, is Santa Cruz.
Does it still get that?
Yeah, because that was like the whole reason why fucking in the vampire movie
Lost Boys. Well, it's
Lost
per
Boys.
capita.
Most per capita. Now, granted, that means because Santa Cruz is kind of tiny, so I think like they had the most like killings per capita. But Santa Cruz is also maybe 50,000 people or whatever, like in like the city part. So I guess that doesn't probably take a whole lot. Where Stockton's like 300,000 people.
Well, it would blow my mind whenever I would hear like somewhere in downtown Sonora. Like this goes like a few years back. I don't remember how many. But there was literally a shooting on Washington Street in downtown Sonora. The guy had to stand off with some cops. The guy got shot down.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what the fuck? Just one of those things just here. Like that's way after Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry was filmed at that Safeway.
Yeah, the fucking Save Mart and so on.
Where they drive by the old house I rented or a room I rented for like a minute.
Yeah, there's like that. There's like those couple scenes in there.
You're like, oh, that was my street. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like, way before I was even born. But it's kind of like one of those things. Like when you hear that, like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess it could happen anywhere. All it takes is one tweaker, like on the run or whatever, or like take like But at the exact same time, like, I mean, San Francisco. I don't know. I feel like it's just people they hear one thing and
they blow it out of proportion. That kind of.
And it's also this thing of like justifying why it sucks or whatever. And like when I lived there, my problems with it was just too expensive. It was just too expensive. I really liked living there. I lived there for like 6 years or so, but I also lucked out. I got there right before prices shot up, and I was even like at the time. You're saying you're paying $800 or nearly $900 for this one room. Like at the time, it would have been like, what the fuck? But in San Francisco, it's like, what a steal!
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
For this one room, and you share a kitchen and a bathroom with 3 other people, $900. Wow, what a deal! Like, and plus utilities, which kind of come randomly because you got a shady as fuck owner.
The evil Dr. Wong.
Dr. Wong, yes, can't forget Dr. Wong.
Yeah, but it's like that. It's like you kind of think about it, like, or you could get an apartment in Modesto and have all that stuff. But you're in Modesto. It's like that's sort of the trade-off.
Are there a lot of trees? Well, they're orchards.
Yeah, there's some.
There's trees.
Yeah,
I guess yeah, it's one of those things.
I always think that was like the Pursuit of Happiness movie, which I always called that movie the Pursuit of Republicanness or whatever, because literally
I never saw, but
I remember watching it. It was just one of those ones.
Happiness is money, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Happiness is money, and you're not going to like it unless you're that guy. And I don't know, I felt like it just kind of had sort of a bad message. And then the thing too is like, it's like like you got Will Smith's character and whatnot, and they're like, he's in San Francisco and he's like complaining about like, it's just so expensive here and all that stuff. Like, well, fucking move to Modesto or something like that. This is not the only choice. You pick the hard. It's like you put the game on fucking like extreme difficulty instead of just being like, dude, you could just move on out there. You don't have to be here.
Yeah. The main reason we moved out is because my girlfriend at the time, now wife, we wanted to get a place together, but everything together was just like big enough for 2 people was way too fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And then plus I hated my job at the time, so it's just like, all right, let's look elsewhere. So that was the main thing.
Well, I remember because like when you're in San Francisco, there's like there was a time period where like we were thinking about getting this like other apartment, and we had there's a guy. You remember the guy named Richard, kind of had a Viking look to him. He had just long ponytail beard, whatever.
Yeah.
And he had this idea. He was like, "Oh, let's go to this one apartment." And he's like, his thing was like, "Let's shove like 9 people in here." And I remember looking at it, and there was this closet that I always remember this. There was a closet that had a window in it. Why a closet has a window in it, I'm not too sure. But I was just like, yeah, I think I could put. I think this could work. I could put my bed right here, or like a cot right here. I could put like a fucking TV up, put the Super Nintendo in there. And I was like, I think this would be practical.
Early 20s, there's a lot of shit you'll just go with. But then there's a point where you just get a little older, and like, nah, I need to jerk off in peace.
Well, my biggest thing was that there was only one restroom. I'm like, 9 people for like rooms would be one thing, but like only one restroom, like that's going to be chaotic.
That's going to be chaotic. That's going to be the most gnarliest bathroom ever, too.
Yeah, especially because, you're going to have to, like, hire a maid pretty much for that kind of shit.
Well, just 9 people in one, like...
Yeah, just tearing
apartment.
it up.
Yeah. I mean, there's shit. Like, I remember the apartment you and Marshall rented in Modesto, and the way you guys had that laid out. It was basically a studio. It's like, this is my corner, It's an inflatable mattress right there. This is a fold out.
I had, like, well, I remember because, like, the bed I had was literally... There was like a mattress topper that Cisco didn't want for his bed, and that was what I used as my floor bed. Because that's the thing is like I don't need much. I'm fine with sleeping on the floor with just like a little mattress or anything like that. Like because I kind of like I did enjoy like apartment living and things like that. Like there's something kind of cool like because that's the one thing when I think about San Francisco, the thing I miss the most is like I love being able to like I can walk out my front door and there's a pizza parlor, there's a grocery store, there's all the stuff I need. Where like the only downfall up here in the mountains, it's like. If I walk out my front door, it's an hour and 20-minute long walk just to get there.
Yeah.
Let alone getting back, So you can't really do that, I have, but, it's one of those ones, like, it's not as easy. I mean, I could run there in 25 minutes if I want to do that every single time.
Well, there is also just a lot of, I'm just imagining just the shit you'd be willing to settle and do when, like, in your 20s, because you're just thinking, we're in our 20s. We're not living in our parents' house. We can do whatever, And then there's that point where, I don't know where it kicks in, probably like late 20s maybe, where it's like, okay, people are starting to call us out and notice shit, And it's also one of those things where, I mean, I kind of lived alone. I had roommates, but I basically lived alone for a while. But after even though I was cool with most of my roommates, there's just that point of just like, I just need a living room. I need a living room. I need space. Just kind of like one of those kind of things. It just happens after a while. And then, somewhere there's a minute where before I even left the town here, I was looking at places like there was like 5 of us looking to like it's the stupidest thing, but it was like I didn't even have credit yet, so I was just kind of like we were looking at this one house right off Sanguinetti, and I want to say it was like 2 or 3 bedrooms and then like a big garage, and one of us was like, "Oh, dude, one of us could even live in the garage," which is probably not what you should say to the guy trying to rent the place out.
No, yeah.
We're just looking around like, this is awesome. Yes, this, and that. Or how's your guys' credit? Like, credit.
I don't got a credit card.
Yeah, I don't have a
You got a credit card, Bob? No, I don't either.
You got Joe? No, I don't got a credit card. So,
I mean, I got a video rental store card.
And they just like,
can I run my Blockbuster card through this?
Yeah, exactly. And then like the guy's like, "Oh, sorry guys, but like no bad credit's worse than no credit, so I can't really. I need someone with credit." So they're like,
so one of you is gonna have to suck my dick.
Well, all right then. If that means living in the garage, it's very spacious in here. There's that thing where you just imagine the ultimate bachelor pad, and you imagine how cool it's going to be. But then realistically, you think back on the friends who did have the ultimate bachelor pad. It was just fucking gnarly. There's just like fucking beer bottles everywhere. No one's taking the trash out like in 2 months. There's like a stain on the carpet that no one's like. It's still like it's
no one's
textured.
addressed. Yeah.
It's textured. Like something splattered there. They pulled the plate off. Like it's fine, and then it's still there. Whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is, they did not take care of. Yeah, no, those are always the scary ones.
There's a couple holes in the wall. You don't know how those holes got there. We don't know if someone just had like I'm fucking tired of this shit. Just punched the walls. Or if somebody just like we were just roughhousing for some fucking reason, or chucked a controller. It could have been anything in that fucking house,
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean by those places and so on like that. Yeah, it's one of those ones like because like the more I think about the like I always feel like There's always that one too where you get that like notion where you're like, oh man, like what if you like just kind of like, you know, you had just like, because I feel like I don't need a whole lot of space. I know it looks like but I'm circled myself here in like junk, but like like, you know,
treasures,
you know, but it looks like a storage unit in a sense. It's like,
own, like,
here's my books, here's my game controller box, here's my workout equipment, and all this stuff. But like at the same time, I'm like I still feel like the only thing that I felt like I really, as long as you just kind of had like, as long as you have like some form of like restroom that's like easily accessible and it's not destroyed or anything like that, you're not sharing with 9 other fucking people or something like that. Like that's about it. Like I don't need a living room. I don't care for that kind of stuff. You know, even a kitchen can be quite small for me as long as it's clean. Like I could have one of those like fucking like Tokyo apartments that you see where they got like very little and they just like slide on in.
I just mean more of like a space to like, you know, because it became my life after a while became just my apartment that I rent, my room that I rented within this apartment.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I went out and did stuff, but I mean, it became kind of like cumbersome. And at some point, you know, it's nice to have your space, but it's also nice to like, I don't know, there wasn't really a living room because of the layout of it, and everyone was off doing their own thing. So it just became like, it didn't really feel like, I don't know, I just kind of like, when it's like 6 or like 5 people to like one thing because everyone's got a spouse or a girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that just becomes a lot cumbersome then, and then
it gets all jammed. And no.
So when I say like living room, like I don't need like the biggest living room, but the living room would be nice. But just somewhere to kind of hang out, you know. So
yeah, exactly. You know, but yeah, sometimes I even think about it too, like when like you get like that kind of thing. You're like, oh, like you know, you could live out of like a cool van, and as long as you had a couple gym memberships, there's your restrooms and shower.
I can imagine all these things. I can imagine like the cool version, the version I see in a movie, but then I think of the actual people I know that lived that. And it's like one of those things where it's just kind of.
You feel like you'd be like Mickey Rourke and like the fucking the wrestler.
Kind of, because I knew a guy at like one of my old like bike rental jobs that lived in his van, basically. And it was like a big camper van, and the bed looked cozy, but it also was very cramped and all that. So it was just like one of those things like, I wish you luck, man. But at the same time, like I don't know, I just knew those people that lived like that. So it's just like, you know, just.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a way where you could see it like on like a fucking Instagram, like we're the Marshalls and we just this is our like travel vlog and da da da. I'm sure that shit. I'm sure that shit. There's the version that works out.
Well, those people, let's be honest, they have a lot of money back in that.
Usually they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like they're not kind of like in a sense like partially hoboing it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I feel like as long as you had a couple of you get like a couple of those like you know cheap gym memberships where like they like go to like all kinds of, like, you can use them anywhere kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So then you always have like, because that's where then you got your showers and all that kind of stuff, no matter what you're taking care of there.
Mm-hmm. You need to be a very specific person, I think, to pull it off. I think the only way you can really pull that off is if you're like, and granted, this is also, I'm sure this person's real, but they're not that common. Like a Brad Pitt character in a movie. Like Brad Pitt from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Where like
he's like, oh, who's this bum? I'm like, oh, it's a pretty good-looking bum. Just coming out of the, like, oh, don't mind me, you know. Just
exactly. Living in that beater trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he somehow made living in a beater trailer, eating macaroni and cheese out of the pot, watching a black and white TV. He's like, that looks kind of cool.
Or then I always think about like you got Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. He like lives on that trailer. Somehow he's on the beach. I've always wondered how the hell like that cannot be cheap whatsoever. It's not like they just said like, sir, you just backed this trailer up on this beach here and just left it. Like, oh, don't worry, he's crazy. He's suicidal. Yeah,
I know I said. Keep it.
And he works for LAPD, so somehow, some way he got that to work. But
I just like that thing. Like every time, like, hey Riggs. okay, fine. Take it. It's fine. It's cool. There's no point in the movie where he does that, but I just like to imagine.
It just goes wild and so on like that. But yeah, no, like he lives in like that like trailer out there, you know, and the trailer I think changes as like in the movies go on, but you know,
yeah,
it's like one of those ones like you know, and then he just literally just goes over to like Murtaugh's house to do his laundry and like, get fed.
Help him get off the fucking toilet before it blows up or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised to see he's not 2 steps away where he moves that trailer in just like right across the street in the cul-de-sac.
That's also one of those.
He's got a fucking extension cable running in.
That sounds like a sitcom right there. Like he just the plot for at least one movie. Like he just moves in. He's like right across the street. Like, okay, we can go on jobs together and do this, but goddamn, does it have to be like?
He's got like 6 mangy dogs that just fucking terrorize the neighborhood.
Him and his wife are like on like the couch. They finally have a alone time. Fucking Riggs walks in, beer just like plops right between them. What are we watching? Like feet up on the table.
Yeah, he's just got underwear on.
Hey, let's put on Three Stooges.
Yeah, I always feel like Murtaugh's wife's she's very like kind of this, but she's probably that one's like, dude, you got to get this fucking guy out of here. Like, he's in here every fucking day. He literally, you watch him. He drives around the cul-de-sac waiting for us to sit down for dinner, and then just happens to show up.
You ever notice just the car lights just kind of like slowly go by? And then like just pauses for a minute. They just see the lights just adjust in such a way and back up. Fuck.
Here he is again, you know what I mean?
What you guys doing? Riggs, you know what we're doing. Oh, I was just driving through town. Of course you were just driving.
Oh, well, you mind if I come on in?
Well, just walks right past them. I sit at the table. I ask the kids, how you doing in school? Sorry we shot your friend the other day.
How are we supposed to know?
But hey, Boys the Men came to the funeral. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a guy like that. You see, he just goes over to the living room, just drags the TV over. Puts on some Three Stooges. You come back around to Christmas. Okay, everybody always wants to say Die Hard's a Christmas movie, and I totally believe that. But
good bring around.
But I think that Lethal Weapon is the movie that did it first. I mean, I know that there is more Christmas in Die Hard. Christmas is more sort of a side. It's like it just happens to be taking place at Christmas at Lethal Weapon, or at Christmas time in Lethal Weapon. But realistically, that's the movie that gets uncredited as like a total Christmas movie.
Shane Black loves Christmas, and I think that those ones right there. He likes using Christmas as a contrast, but not really always just a Christmas movie. Like kind of like, I want to say people ask him, why do you make so many movies take place at Christmas? He says, I guess people in dour places and like sad dour places in the contrast of the lights and a time where you're supposed to be happy. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of I thought that was like, yeah, that makes sense, But at the exact same time, thinking on that, I think that Die Hard, because Die Hard, I think first off, Die Hard wasn't meant to be like a Christmas release. It came out like in June or May or some shit, But I think it just by happenstance kind of follows the beats of a Christmas movie,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a guy,
getting home for Christmas.
Coming home for Christmas, has got kind of a broken family thing going on.
And then there's like even more of like the like Christmas like kind of jingles built into the score. And they keep on making references to Christmas throughout it. Where, as far as I remember, I haven't watched Lethal Weapon 1 in a long time, but as far as I remember, it just takes place on Christmas.
Yeah, it's more of a backdrop. I mean, but there's still like, there's like the...
I think the part where he's about to kill himself, he's watching a Christmas movie, maybe? Like A Wonderful Life or some shit?
Yeah, he's watching a Christmas movie. There's like that one action scene where he's at the Christmas tree place where he's trying to buy the cocaine off the guys or whatever. He's doing the bust. There's like it's more like it's like a set piece, I guess you would sort of say. So it still has enough stuff in it that I still would say it can be in that same category.
I think Batman Returns is also kind of a Christmas movie in that way, because I want to say that one even came out around Christmas time or November or something like that.
I think so. I think if I remember correctly, it kind of did. So there is some of those other ones too. What's the other Shane Black ones that are in Christmas? I'm trying to think of that.
I think his last Boy Scout at Christmas. Iron Man 3 is at Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's a Christmas movie.
That's right, yeah.
Or another one that just takes place at Christmas. There's more. Other Guys ends on Christmas.
For all we know, Predator could take place during Christmas. It's just...
It could, but just another part of the country. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Predator, the one that he directed,
Predator 4,
that takes place on Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
There's other Christmas stuff. He's done a lot. Like I'm drawing a blank right now, but there is a lot of Christmas movies in his roster. I think Last Boy Scout's Christmas.
That might be. It's been a moment since I've seen that one. That's a great one though too.
Yeah. You asked me, and I know I could name them off, and I'm just drawing a fucking.
I was just trying. I was sitting there thinking. I was just trying to think. I'm like, which ones?
You asked me like 4 years ago, like Shane Black movies. Oh, there's also right now. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah. There was a good moment where I had like a marathon to catch up on all the ones I missed out on, and went through a lot of them. But yeah.
No, yeah, that's a good point. Well, Christmas stuff's a big thing with him, so that makes sense. At the same time, though, like. I feel like the whole Die Hard thing started off as more of kind of like it's technically a Christmas movie. It's the most badass Christmas movie ever. And then time came on, like, kind of is a Christmas movie. Well, actually is kind of.
I felt like it was a way to take like a real like surly like dad who's been working at the factory, and it was just like, oh, this is fucking Christmas shit. And it's be like,
it's not a wonderful life. It's a fucking bullshit life.
Fuck you, Jimmy Stewart, throwing the fucking beer bottle at the TV and shit.
What the fuck, Clarence?
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Like, that's my fucking name, Clarence. Don't you fucking take that away.
All right. The TV's
but I think what happened is just like, he was like, Dad, you want to watch Rudolph? Fuck Rudolph. Fuck him up his stupid fucking red-nosed ass.
Fuck Frosty. I'm glad he fucking melts. Hope he stays fucking melted.
Fuck the Easter Bunny. That's not Christmas. It's fucking close enough. And then I think it's probably one of those ones, well, Dad, how about Die Hard? Well, I can get fucking behind Die Hard.
Well, yeah.
Get me a Charleston Chew. Get me a Gatorade.
Charleston Chew and a Gatorade.
Get me some Jack and a steak.
That is
rare as fuck.
A Charleston Chew, a Gatorade, some Jack, and a steak. I like to imagine like he's making like the Gatorade and the Jack is meant to be some kind of the most white trash cocktail ever. Charleston Chew is clearly dessert. The steak is like rare as fuck. Don't even bother cooking. It's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm just going to cut it off this animal while it's still alive and eat it.
Charleston Chew, Gatorade, some Jack, and a steak.
And I could get behind watching this Die Hard thing. And this is the one Christmas movie I will watch.
You know, watch Bruce Willis kill some Europeans? Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Sounds about fucking right.
Merry Christmas to me, yeah. There's that. There's I'm trying to think because I've been trying to I've been kind of watching through a lot of the Christmas movies. I watched It's a Wonderful Life, and I know we talked about this.
I got a cool DVD version of that where it's got two versions, where it's got the black and white and then it's got one of the recolored ones.
I'm watching the recolored one. It was on demand. Yeah.
I do. Some people are weird about recolored. They don't like, and this goes for just cinephile type people. Obviously not normal people, but normal people are going to be like, yeah, give me the color one. But like they kind of go like, oh, it's blasphemy to be recolored. I'm like, I kind of like the recolored in a weird way because like it adds to the movie. Like it doesn't take away. Like I still am very partial to black and white.
Yeah.
But there's something kind of cool like when you see the recolored stuff. It's like, oh, it's. There's some things like I have that version of Night of the Living Dead that's recolored. I remember buying it. I bought that in San Francisco to tie it back around at Amoeba, and I remember that was one of those ones where I'm like, oh, this is going to be probably so silly and so weird. Like it's probably going to be like, I'll kind of throw it off. But then I remember watching the recolored one. I'm like, it actually is kind of cool. It actually felt like it added a lot to Night of the Living Dead. That's what I need to see. I feel like the black and white of Night of the Living Dead would really helps it. Maybe the recolor might also add into the gore and that. I do think sometimes I think watching something like Psycho in black and white, you know what I mean, like something like that. Yeah, that'd be kind of a weird one to be in color. Like most Hitchcock movies, I think sound better in black and white, even the ones that aren't horror films. like they sound better in black and white. Like, the audio is much better when it's black and white. Well, I know what you meant though. You could hear the difference. Like North by Northwest, I could just even I could imagine. Well, that's in color, but what I've watched was in black and white. North by Northwest? Yeah, that movie I thought was always in color. I saw a black and white version of it. Were you watching on black and white TV? Did you have a Charleston Chew and a Gatorade? No, it wasn't. I want to say it's originally a black and white film. I can't imagine because that movie's 19. I mean, I'd say it can't, but it's in the. I mean, Psycho's actually after North by Northwest, but I'm pretty sure that one's a fully because that's Technicolor. I want to say. I just watched that with Marley like only a couple months ago, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got to watch it again. I remember it being black and white. Maybe I'm wrong though, but like. There's some of those movies I just think are fine, like in black. I want to say Rearview Window was color. But yeah. But say something like
It's a Wonderful Life. I think that's fine in color because it's a Christmas movie and kind of the color kind of adds more to the whimsy of it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was watching that movie a little bit ago, and it's still a good movie. You know, we've made jokes about it before, but like I'm thinking about because there's those things like I'm not shaming a movie that came out like nearly 70 years ago or whatever, but there's some of the shit like this is George Bailey as a boy. He is a nice, like smart, introspective young chap, and like he meets his love of his life at a young age, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on there? Oh, so you want some ice cream? You want some coconut with that? You don't like coconut? What the fuck's wrong with you, crazy bitch?" Anyway, well, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go travel the world one day. I might get a fucking harem. I might get 3 harems. Just wait you see. If you don't talk too much and keep your tits nice, you might be a part of it. Like that's his introduction as a little kid. He's just like, hey, Mr. Witherby, don't go kill yourself because you're a kid. Like, oh, he's like smacking him like, don't kill yourself. Like, oh, well, I'm sorry, George. I'm like, oh, that's okay. How like intense that opening is.
Yeah.
And how it opens up as he's a kid, like. He's a very good man. One day I'm going to get tons of Arabian pussy. Just wait and see.
I mean, just like Aladdin and his golden lamp. That was Aladdin's real wishes.
Yeah.
It was just like he wanted to fuck around the world, and that's what the genie's like, really? That's what you want?
He was a passport bro at the end of the day. That's what I want to be, too. Get on that magic carpet. Collect a condoms from around the world.
Exactly. Genie was down with it, and that's how the Arabian Nights story went,
Arabian Nights.
Or at least in the Popeye version.
No, like, it's still good because you also like how like lightning fast the dialogue is in those old movies too.
Yeah.
It sometimes takes a second, like, oh, it's actually pretty witty, because sometimes you just think like old timey, old shimmy sham, old timey, and then you're like, oh wait, that was actually pretty quick witted and pretty like bam, snap, snap, snap. You know what I mean? So
well, yeah, I felt like especially in that time period, like that 40s to like 60s, like that's like things are really dialed in because and I a lot of times say the 30s and 40s is like that's when they got like, oh, we know how movies work now. Like they are like 100% dialed in at that point. It's like we figured out like you spent the last 40 years kind of figuring it all out. We now totally get it.
Yeah, I can see that kind of. Like getting we figured out side scrolling now.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
like, all right, side scrolling at its best right now.
Yeah,
Genesis even.
Yeah, that's almost like how it is, and that's why I think those movies in like that kind of era are really solid still and really hold up because it's like, and they put a lot into them, and because if you think about it, like that's like why they call that the golden age of cinema is because that's when like cinema was at like the total pinnacle. There wasn't anything else competing with it yet. Where and then that lasts for a good long while. But, as time goes on, TV starts to compete with cinema. Of course, video games come in later and so on like that. And there's other types of media outlets, even comic books and so on. But at that point, like, cinema's like, that's the fucking jam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing on a fucking Saturday?
Going to see Jimmy Stewart.
I'm going to see Jimmy Stewart. I'm going to see the newsreel. I'm going to see the war rolls and all that kind of stuff. And remember, there might be a cartoon there, too. You never know.
If we're lucky, if Jesus graces us with one.
Yeah, man, I might. Who knows? Betty Boop might show her tits in this one. We never know.
I'm thinking back because like
maybe old Ronald Reagan will appear in one of these ones. I always like him in one of those. Got him and that chimpanzee.
All right, Bobo, time to flash our tits.
Yeah, let's show our tits. Wow, that was definitely not what I was expecting in the cinema today.
Great enough for the audience, Bobo. Oh no, he's gone self-aware. That day, Ronald Reagan got his nipples twisted off.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why you don't do a titty twister contest with a chimpanzee. I guess it's time for me to retire from acting and
sell some friends out to the Red Scare. Joe, what's fucking time to sell some friends out to J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, that looks like a commie over there. Sure. Get him, Edgar. You too, Bobo. He was talking about sharing his lunch the other day. Can't trust that.
Well, fuck, Jimmy Stewart. Where were we going with this?
Movies back then and all that, and yeah, no, there is something about like a lot of that. I don't know. I haven't seen White Christmas. I was considering watching that, but I really know nothing about it. I just know Bing Crosby's in it.
Yeah,
so.
that's a good one. It is a musical. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I figured.
I know how you get with musicals.
I'm not like, it's not like, fuck this.
Flip the fucking coffee table up, kick the Christmas tree over.
I'm like,
Christmas is over!
Christmas is ruined! Stomp off to my room. Like, my, 6-month-old son is like, the fuck's wrong with him?
A fucking Linkin Park kicks on real loud.
It doesn't even matter.
Your dad walks up. No, not worth it.
No, it's kind of like musicals is like hit and miss. Well, not really. Well, I don't know. It's like it's not my favorite genre. There's musicals I like, and let's be honest, and even musicals I like, they're like songs. Where I'm like, oh, it's this song.
Yeah.
Like there's kind of like a show I really like. Two shows I really like. Same creator, Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel, both musicals. The reason I like them, though, isn't because they're musicals. I like the character designs. I like the story. I like the characters. I like the dialogue. Musical is just kind of coincidental. You know, every so often, oh, that's a good song. As far as, music, I guess I could also handle musicals more if they're animated, which I know is kind of a weird,
it kind of puts a different, spin on everything.
It also depends on the musical. Actually, I hate Les Miserables. Not saying that it's a bad story. I just hate the, I don't know, it just seems so, so cheesy.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking cheesy.
There's something uncanny, I guess, is a good way to say it.
Or if you have something say something like My Fair Lady is kind of cheesy, but there's something about the low stakes of, well, here we are today in a musical magical factory in 1960, whatever.
Well, old musicals are kind of better in a weird way.
Like, that kind of shit, it's it's not some high-stake thing. We're not talking about the French Revolution, something that matters,
Yeah, so it's like, why is this a musical? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I'll say this, I don't love it. I mean, I like it. I like Hamilton, but the way it presents itself is it presents itself in the context of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not it's not even something I'm in love with. It doesn't have a big production. It's here's the couple people acting out, rapping to the scene, and here is some backup dancers around them. We don't have these I don't know, it just doesn't feel overly... It's not my favorite thing. I'm not in love with it like other people. Yeah. It's just, okay, I see why people like it, but it's not my favorite. It's one of those things musicals is real roll of dice with me. It's when you want to be taken seriously. Because now that I'm thinking about it, the more musicals I'm naming off, I like that one. I like that one. But... Mm-hmm. The fact they're musicals is coincidental. It's not because they're musicals.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd. I like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I like that one too.
But it's coincidental. I like it. It's more the story I like.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree there too. And I kind of notice too. It's a lot of times, comedy stuff, it's Cannibal Musical or something like that. Yeah. Trey Parker things.
It's comedy. It's a lot easier to take.
Yeah, it makes more sense. I think it's when they try to go a little too serious. I think that's where that kind of ruins it, because that's what makes those good 40s and 50s ones. Is that they kind of know what they are. It's
try to stereotype.
Yeah, you're seeing a show is what you're kind of there for. It's not they don't have that. That's once they start to get real serious and so on like that. And I mean, I've seen a lot of musicals throughout life, but yeah, it is. It's ones I like Fiddler on the Roof. That's a good classic musical one like that. Even Oklahoma and things like that. There.
One actually, bring it back to Christmas. There's one I like. It was on Apple Plus. It was. Spirited. Have you seen that one?
No, I've only had Apple Plus just to watch Tetris, and I never watched anything else on there.
It's a Christmas movie. It's a musical. It stars Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And basically, it's doing this thing where it's a Christmas story, and it has kind of the not the Will Ferrell humor to the level of Step Brothers, but kind of a lighter version with a little bit of kind of more it's kind of hard to explain, but. Not as amped up as that, but has some of the Will Ferrellisms to it, plus a lot of the Ryan Reynolds kind of cheeky, kind of sarcastic humor. Anyway, they're basically it's a team of ghosts that do Christmas Carol haunting things, and they pick someone who they want to change. They prepare for it every year.
Yeah,
they pick someone, and they decide they're going to like make this person's life better, and it's kind of like a whole big, almost like a big stage production.
Yeah,
we see, even though they're ghosts, we see they have technology, they're doing this and that, and they pick someone and they decide they're going to make this person's life better, or they're going to treat them as Scrooge. Will Ferrell is the ghost of Christmas Present, I think, and then they go from there, and like Ghost of Christmas Past is like, is like, I don't remember her name, but she's like this pretty Indian lady. I don't remember her name, but she did a really good job. And then Ghost of Christmas Future is like, looks how he does. It's a big, like, Grim Reaper looking motherfucker, but he's voiced by Tracy Morgan. So there's kind of like a sense of humor to it. And then like they're like, it's blatantly a musical. And when they're kind of showing the whole thing at the beginning, they show them redeeming basically a Karen, basically. And then they have this whole musical come in. They bring in like some of the recently dead people. So this is what we do. We try to change these people. Then we celebrate with a song. And then like there's one guy like, wait, what? It's a it's a musical. Like, what is like this? No, Afterlife is a musical. Like. There's like one girl like, yes,
yeah, they're so into it.
Yeah, there's one guy who's like, oh god. So
that was like you when we went to go see fucking Moana. I remember you're like, it's a fucking musical.
And I ended up liking that movie. Yeah. I just didn't know I
remember there was a moment you're like, the fuck did I get signed up for?
I just didn't know I was signing up for it. That's all. Because they're just like, oh, okay, we're doing this shit. Oh, no, he's not even that. He's like, Moana, you're on an island. Like, oh, shit, we're doing this. But then I'm like, oh, this song's not that bad.
Yeah.
So, as it went on, like, okay, these musical numbers are actually pretty good. So, and plus it was, I didn't know that's what I was seeing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. It's like.
You thought it was like Atlantis or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of. And then like
Titan AE.
Spirited, I knew it wasn't going to be Titan AE. But then Spirited, as it goes on, like they basically pick like a guy who runs a PR firm, Ryan Reynolds, who's basically there to like make like put out misinformation, promote, like start culture wars, that kind of stuff. And we see, he has his sad backstory, but the thing is, he's smart, and he's like he's not someone who's so easily changed. Like, we can change you. Like, at most, I'm going to feel bad about it for 2 days and then go back to my old ways. That's how people are. He's like coming at it from a realistic perspective, but it's actually a good movie. And there's a couple moments where the musical numbers like, okay, let's wrap this one up. But the story is good. It's actually pretty funny. And Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds bounce off each other pretty well. Yeah,
that sounds kind of interesting. I think I remember seeing like the banner appear across that on like the Fire Stick or whatnot at some point. Try to get me to get some Apple Plus going, but no. That's the thing, is there is like, I think there is decent musical stuff, and when I do like a musical, I do like it. You know what I mean? But it's one of those ones like. I think it's a lot of the modern ones that's where it gets a little iffy if they're not comedies or something like that, or they're not animated, or something like that. That makes it a little bit challenging sometimes.
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, you tell me a musical. It's not the fact that it's a musical that got me through the door. That's Yeah. And even this movie, it was just like, well, we already have Apple Plus, and it's a Christmas movie, so sure. And it was like it was funnier than expected, and it was I liked it. So.
Yeah, no, I could see that. It's good characters and everything. They were good actors, and so. Yeah, it definitely makes for that.
Plus, I like A Christmas Carol, so...
Yeah.
It's even parts... It's funny because, he realized, you guys are just Christmas caroling me. So when he's going through... I know it's Ryan Reynolds' kind of fourth wall humor, but there's a part where he's like... He's trying to... Because, there's a point where he skips ahead. He, like, goes around a back door because he's trying to just get out of it.
Yeah.
So he sneaks around. He's going through, like, the back door, ends up in a earlier section where it's, like, he's supposed to see his death. And he's walking by like, I seen the movies. I didn't know. He's like, he sees how he dies, and like, and he comes across his tombstone. 93. Okay, cool. And he just keeps running. So
yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of cool.
It's like 93. All right.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a fun one to kind of check out and so on there. But yeah, musicals, Christmas, all kinds of good
Video game stuff.
Video games, yeah. There is all that kind of fun there and what have you, and yeah. I don't know. You getting hungry at all?
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It just all sounds like, oh.
Jimmy Stewart
just sitting there. It's just like, oh yeah, you know it'd go good right now. Yeah,
some Arabian pussy. That's what Jimmy Stewart wants.
On that fucking magic carpet. And,
They got a match of carpet for Christmas? Only one way it's going to take me.
Yeah. Come on, carpet, take me to Arabia.
Merry Christmas.
yeah, go Merry Christmas, Jimmy Stewart style. But yeah, well, that's I think a good place to wrap it all up with, and so on like that. All Christmas fun, movies, games, all that good stuff. But you go check out our Old Man Orange link tree. That will be in the description. Where you can find other podcasts, old videos, comic books, and all that fun stuff. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.